I talk a lot about the hard and the overwhelm of young motherhood because that's the stage I am in right now, and because it caught me totally off guard when I became a mom. But I know very well that it's not the only hard there is, and I also wish people understood or knew just how great a blessing my children are to me. Blessings that outweigh the hard. They truly do.
My name is Melinda. I am a happy wife and mom of four. Thank you for joining me today as I share the things that I have learned with other busy young moms like myself.
Today I want to talk about the blessing that children are, the gift that they are. Children are a gift, a heritage from the Lord, the Bible says, a blessing that cannot be compared to any earthly blessings. So even though, just because I talk of the hard, it doesn't mean that it's all hard. I want to be honest about the hard parts because it caught me off guard. After years of dreaming of being a mom, it caught me off guard how hard it could be. But I wouldn't go back and not have my children. I've learned things that make it a bit easier. I've learned that everything is a season and I'll get through it. But my children are one of my greatest blessings, and I truly, truly, truly enjoy them. Here in Costa Rica, we get lots of reactions. Most everyone thinks babies are so cute and lovely, and we haven't gotten like hurtful comments, I wouldn't say. But we had our first four in a bit less than 6 years, and that's not very common. Most everyone figures with one or two, you're good to go. And there are families with 3, 4, 5. That's not like, it's not totally abnormal, but it's becoming less and less. And so, and probably because, well, with my Canadian background, it's obvious that we're not natives here, native Costa Ricans. I mean, we've all been born here, but our ancestry is not from here. And so that maybe makes people take notice more too. But almost always I get these comments more about, oh, how cute they are, when they see me and they look at my children and to see if they have blue eyes too. 2 of them have blue or green gray eyes, and that's just the greatest thing ever. It doesn't make any difference to me the color of the skin or the color of my children's eyes, because each one is special the way they are. And people realize that they're so cute and so on, but no, they don't want more than 1 or 2. It's so hard. With the economy, it's hard, and I know that children are an extra cost. I mean, our children are small and so on, but we have to be buying a bit more groceries now than we had to 5 years ago even. And we are tight-packed in a house, but we're a happy family, so what does it matter? And our needs are all met, have all been supplied. I remember one time going to town soon after my last baby. I think most everyone in town kind of recognizes me, even if I don't recognize most everyone, because I've been going to town for pregnancy appointments and baby doctor appointments and whatever all for the last 6 years. And maybe it's almost 7 years already. And so I went to town recently, or after my last baby, and then I was walking down to some other store or something away from the appointment, and then a lady stopped me, and she wanted to see the baby in the baby carrier. I had him in a baby carrier because her daughter had said that I had a baby there and she hadn't seen him. She had seen my daughters. And yeah, when most people find out we have a boy now after 3 girls, then we're probably done, right? We have our boy now. Well, we weren't trying till we get a boy, if you want to say it like that. None of our babies have been accidents. All of our babies have been blessings. I mean, that would happen they would be in any case, but that concept that the this number of little children, which isn't even like, to me, it's not even extreme. I mean, I know a lot of people who have more and closer together and so on. But they figure it has to be an accident, or we have to be done, or whatever the case is. I don't know what will happen, how our family's future is. I don't know what the Lord's plans are. But someday I would be glad to have more children because of the joy and the blessing that they are. I want to make that very clear, and I want to encourage you to see that blessing too. My husband has, someone one time joked when he saw him loading up all the girls, we have a 15-passenger van, not because we're for sure going to need it for that size of a family. It's just more practical because of some other people who we often travel with who don't have a vehicle and so on. Then it is more practical to have a 15-passenger van. But it's the kind that often gets used here for hauling school children or kindergarten children. So one day someone noticing how my husband was loading up the 3 girls, in a row, and the baby at 2, then, well, I don't know if we had the baby at the time. He was joking about that we have a kindergarten. Well, we maybe do have a kindergarten. We maybe haul our kindergarten around. But it's fun. I'm not by any means saying to recklessly have all the children you can. No, I think we should care more for the children we have than the ones that we could have. But if you have children, I hope you can see them as the blessing that God says they are. And almost everyone I know who has had a bunch of little ones, in the tough and the overwhelm, once their little ones grow up, they would not go back and change it. Children are a blessing, even in the hard times. My blessings far outweigh my hard days. And I will keep talking about the overwhelm in motherhood, and to encourage other moms who are in that stage, because when you're drowning in work and maybe not, and hormones or whatever, you need some encouragement that you will get through it. But it's worth it. My children are my joy, one of my joys. There's different ways my children are gifts to me. They give me so many laughs. The 2-year-old with all her sayings, one of these days she came up with, I wish we could live at a restaurant and I could sit in the baby chair. She loves to sit in those baby high chairs that are at the restaurants. I don't know why they're such a big thing, but things like that give me laughter. The baby, when he starts giggling, when his sisters jump around and he laughs at them. The older ones with their, the ideas they come up with. It gives me so much laughter. It will probably keep me young. I just love it. I have a notebook where I keep their cute little sayings and quotes in. And I look back once in a while, and then it gives me a lot to smile about. Children help us keep our priorities straight. It helps remind me where I could be maybe focusing on other stuff. When my children need me, I see my priorities and raising them to be soldiers in God's kingdom and living right myself so I can be a good example for them. All of those help my priorities to stay straight. That souls are more important than a nice big house. Souls are more important than having time to do all the things I want to do myself. Children keep us humble too. What other thing keeps us more humble than our children? When they say things in public, when they do things in public. And humility is good for anyone. We're not perfect, and we could tend to get proud if we didn't have our children to put us in our place. I mean, there's other ways too. If you don't have children, it's not that you're proud at all. That's not what I'm saying. But that's one of the ways they have been a blessing to me. They teach us a lot about ourselves. My children have taught me that I need God, that I have a much shorter temper than I thought I had. They have taught me what I can handle and what I can't, and who I am. really on the inside. Once all the props around me have fallen, then who am I? And that's a good thing, I think. It helps us to depend on God. Children teach us to depend on God. And I read an idea the other day that I really liked. That one of the blessings of having children and getting overwhelmed, being in those stages of overwhelm, your children, we all want to raise children who know how to be tough, and like tough in the right way, that they can handle hardships in life. And when my children see how I respond to the hardships of life, like I don't want them to feel like my hardships, but they see. My older ones especially see when I'm overwhelmed, and sometimes I have to tell them, look, I feel like there's too much for me to do now. I need to ask God for help, to be patient. I need to just smile, breathe deep, and accept that I can't do everything. And I think that will teach them how to handle their own hardships someday when they're maybe in other things of overwhelm, but they'll have seen me struggle, in a sense, and that'll teach them how they can come to God and ask Him for strength too for their hardships. And so I think that is a very good thing, that the very overwhelm, the very hardships that we face with having our children are what God can use to teach our children through us and our responses how to get through their own hard times. Sometimes they don't feel like a blessing. Sometimes you maybe don't feel love for your children. Love isn't just a feeling, it's a choice too. And so even when your children don't feel like gifts or blessings, I encourage you to choose love with God's help, because you will see that there are times they are a huge blessing, and God says it in His Word, so it is so, even when it doesn't feel like it. I know parents who have gone through adoption or foster care. I have seen that in my life. It's not been, God hasn't led us to that. I don't know how we do it right now, but I know they maybe have to face things that I haven't had to, with 4 healthy, happy children. Children with happy childhoods, children with no physical issues, no emotional issues. And so those cases I'm not talking about, well, the same principle applies, applying God's love and rescuing what Satan has tried to destroy. But remember, God intended that these children, our children, would be a blessing. And that is obviously why Satan will try to take away the blessing, try to tell people that children are too hard, try to destroy the blessings that come with having children. And we need to take that back by God's grace. I talk of the hard times in motherhood and the overwhelm and all that because that's my season, but it's not the only hard, and I really agree with, I really see that clearly. There's other people suffering health issues, deaths of loved ones, war, extreme poverty. There's so much more, rejection from family, so much more that I haven't had to live, that it's okay to face my reality that this is hard for me, but it's not the only hard. And I don't need to say it's not hard because it's not someone else's hard. It's okay to say it's hard, but I know it's not the only hard. I believe if I had struggled with infertility, I wouldn't have gotten so overwhelmed in the day-to-day, but I'm sure I would have shed far more tears than I have now as a mom. So there's different kinds of hard, and I know children are a gift. We're not entitled to the gift of having children, but when God gives them to us, if we can open our hands and accept this gift, some things that we don't see maybe as gifts right away, but they are our gifts, and they are our blessings, and I'm always grateful that God has allowed me to have this blessing of my children. And I want to encourage you to see them like that too, and to know that when God says that children are a blessing, we know they are. And that is why Satan will try to destroy us or keep us from having the blessing of children, or keep us from seeing children as a blessing. So let's work at seeing them as God sees them and enjoying them, because they truly are a great gift and a great blessing. Thank you, and see you next time.